Good morning, everyone. I hope you're keeping well and that you're able to maybe get out and enjoy what's going to be a beautiful day. Cold but beautiful, and hope you get to enjoy that and spend a bit of time outside after the weather we've had the last week. We're continuing to look at Mark's Gospel, and we're kind of at the midpoint of the Gospel now. And this is also a turning point in Jesus' story and Jesus' ministry, and in our understanding of who he is and of what he calls us to as his disciples as well. So I want to read to you from Mark chapter 8, beginning at verse 27. This is one of the most significant moments, if you like, in the whole ministry of Jesus up to this point. And Jesus went on with his disciples to the villages of Caesarea Philippi. And on the way, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" They told him, "John the Baptist, and others say Elijah, others one of the prophets." And he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter answered him, "You are the Christ." And he strictly charged them to tell no one about him. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. And he said this plainly. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and seeing his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan. For you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man." And calling the crowd to him with his disciples, he said to them, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? For what can a man give in return for his soul? For whoever is ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him will the Son of Man also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with his holy angels." And he said to them, "Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the kingdom of God after it has come with power." As I said, it's a turning point in Jesus' life and ministry. It's a turning point in all sorts of ways and for all sorts of people. And there are 3 folks in particular that I want to sort of highlight this morning that this is a turning point for. It's a turning point for Peter. And in many ways it's a good turning point for Peter. He is now ready to nail his colours to the mast. He's ready to declare his absolute loyalty to Jesus. He's ready to put his trust in Jesus as the Messiah, as the Christ. He has seen, he's observed, he's seen the signs, and he's realised, and as other gospel writers will say, also God has revealed to him that Jesus truly is the one promised, the anointed one of God, and he is ready and willing to declare that. However, there's still a way to go for Peter, because it's quite clear that he doesn't yet understand what Messiah really is, and it's for that reason that Jesus tells them not to tell anyone, because if Peter misunderstands what Messiah really is, then certainly the crowd will misunderstand what Messiah really is. Jesus goes on to explain what the role of Messiah is, to go and suffer, be rejected, and die. And Peter rebukes him. Peter tells him off. Peter says, "No, this can't be," demonstrating his lack of understanding and the lack of understanding of the people around him. That they will see the Messiah. They want to see the Messiah on a throne, kicking out the Romans, whatever it is. But they're not prepared for a Messiah who's going to suffer, who's going to die on a cross. And this marks the turning point for Jesus as well. in his ministry as he begins now to focus very sharply and firmly in on that cross, on that suffering. Here in Mark 8, and then again in chapter 9, and again in chapter 10, Jesus will tell them that he is going to suffer and die. That it's not going to be a mistake. It's not going to be some tragic ending to his ministry. It's not going to be unfulfilled potential. It's not going to be a failure whenever Jesus goes to the cross. Rather, the whole purpose of Jesus' mission is the cross. The whole purpose of his coming is to be lifted up on that cross. And so Jesus' focus now shifts from the signs and the miracles to the cross, to the reason for his mission. And it's a turning point for us as well in this gospel. If you like, we're represented here by by the crowd who Jesus calls together along with the disciples and tells them that if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross and follow me. The crowd need to know, we need to know, that following Jesus is not about a series of wonderful, miraculous signs and amazing things happening all the time, and it's not about him giving us our deepest desires, material desires or physical desires or desires even for healing. It's not about that. Following Jesus, he says, is primarily about self-denial. It's about cross-bearing. It's about following him wherever he will lead. Discipleship involves loss. It involves suffering. It involves obedience. This is the way of the cross. At the beginning of Lent, there's no better time to reflect on that and understand that. But as we reflect on that, we also need to know that as we go the way of the cross, we have an expert guide. The one who has walked this way before, one who has lost everything, has suffered unimaginably, has obeyed perfectly to the very end, even to the point of death on a cross, and who has done it all for you and for your salvation. He is worth the following. There's a song by Rend Collective which has a line in it, I've counted up the cost and you are worth it. Well, he is worth it. He is worth it as we follow him today. Whatever we're going through, whatever loss we've experienced, whatever suffering we currently experience, whatever obedience to him will require of us today, he is worth it for all that he has done for us. God bless.